We're just a few hours away from action finally kicking off on circuit at the British Grand Prix this weekend, with FP1 and FP2 taking place this Friday, hopefully bringing an end to a very ugly week in the news for Formula 1. I'm Ollie Wilson for GPFans. Before we get to all the on-track action, let's take a last look at the headlines going into this weekend's British Grand Prix. Max Verstappen has criticised F1 for banning Nelson Piquet after the Brazilian used a racial slur when describing Lewis Hamiton. The three-time world champion voiced a derogatory term during a podcast interview last year, although it only came to light ahead of this weekend's British Grand Prix. Formula 1 then moved swiftly to make it known that Piquet would not be welcome in the paddock given his comments, but reigning champion Verstappen has suggested communication between all parties would have led to fewer future issues. Communication is really important because if you ban, it is not helping what you are trying to enforce, right? Said Verstappen. You are trying to educate people, so it is better to have a chat. These things can be very easily solved. The Dutchman went on to say that the Brazilian driver knows what he said was wrong, and although you should never use the words that Piquet used, labelling him as a racist may not be true either. According to the Red Bull driver, people just pick up on the bad side of this sort of situation and blow it out of proportion. Interesting comments then from the reigning world champion. Elsewhere, Lewis Hamiton heads into Silverstone with the lingering problem of jewellery in Formula 1 hanging over his head once again, declaring that he will race this weekend despite not having removed his nose stud. The stud, which is bolted in place and would require minor surgery to remove, will undoubtedly be a talking point this weekend as the FIA's exemption extension to their underwear and jewellery rules comes to an end today. This means that all drivers cannot wear any jewellery while behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car aside from their wedding rings. Speaking on the issue at his press conference, Hamilton was quick to point out the bigger issues in the sport that have cropped up this week, such as Nelson Piquet's racist language directed towards the driver and Bernie Ecclestone's comments about Vladimir Putin yesterday. I would say that it is worrying because we've got so much bigger fish to fry, said Hamilton. We've really got to start focusing on other, more important areas. I will be racing this weekend. I will be working with the FIA. I would say the matter is not particularly massively important. I will work with Mohammed Ben Sulayem, FIA president, and his team so that we can progress forward. So round 2 of Hamilton and the FIA in Jewellerygate kicks off this weekend. You can follow that and all of the action on track with gpfans.com and GPFans Global on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok.